What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking to you about the events that led up to the American Revolution. So, 7 key points we're going to go. So, before 1763, very important, early British actions, the Townshend Acts, the Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party, the Intolerable Acts, and Lexington and Concord. So, let's start off with before 1763. Before 1763, the colonies, which were later known to become America, were independent because British soldiers came over and colonized the Americas, but then left because they had no business here. But England was getting low on money, so they came back after letting America sit there decades in independence. After that, they then felt their independence threatened when a bunch of soldiers came in and all of a sudden were giving them orders. Next, we're going to talk about early British actions. The French and Indian War. So, Indians is Native Americans. So, when I'm going to say Indians, that means the Native Americans of America. So, the French and Indian War. So, what happened? The French went to war against the Native Americans in the land. Britain teamed up with France, and were also attacking the natives. So, they were getting low on manpower. So, what do? They made the colonists join a war they had no reason to fight in. So, after doing that, many colonists were upset because they lost people, resources, territory, just for a war that they had no reason to fight. Now, let's get into the next one, the Townshend Acts. Because the colonists were outraged and sending letters to King George about the French and Indian War, they felt that it was necessary to give them harsher punishments for doing something like that. So, the Townshend Acts. They basically boycotted most American goods, put price tags that were insane, and taxes. But after many people immediately sent messages and letters to King George telling him to repeal the act, they immediately did it. Next is an important piece of history, the Boston Massacre. So, this is the story. There are 5 British soldiers that walk into a bar, and when they walk into the bar, there are these patriotic Bostoners that start throwing rocks at them. So, what do these 5 British soldiers do? Do they arrest them for doing it? Do they walk away? No, they just shoot them on the spot. It made news headlines everywhere. Boston Massacre. 5 innocent people die. So, then they basically got so much hate from the Boston community because 5 unarmed men that weren't even in their 20s were shot and killed. Then there was the Boston Tea Party. In rebellion against England, they went to basically harbors and they had a genius idea. They dressed up as natives and went and knocked tea into the sea. The sea must have been very tasty that day. But most importantly, what that did was it basically showed the rebellious nature in the colonies. So, what did King George do? Did he try and fix the error in his ways? Did he try and apologize to the colonies and fix some of his wrongdoings? No, he did the Intolerable Acts. So, there were 3 things that were in the Intolerable Acts. Number 1, he basically stopped all trade to the colonies except British ships. Number 2, he basically took control over Boston and made it so that you couldn't do anything without permission from an English English business. Number 3, the 5 soldiers that were in the Boston Massacre, the ones that shot innocent men, instead of having their court in the place where they had the crime, which was Boston, they were supposed to be trialed all the way in England, where the jury is definitely going to be partial. Then, after that immediately made all of the states feel a sense of America. Virginia didn't see themselves as Virginians anymore. They saw themselves as Americans. There was a new sense of patriotism surging through America at the time. But still, there were patriots and loyalists. Patriots are obviously people who are willing to fight for freedom, and there are loyalists who are people who still loved King George. And then there were people in between, like Washington himself. So, then, Lexington and Concord. After the intolerable acts, King George didn't feel that he had punished America enough. So, what did he do? He put 2 blows against America by hitting Lexington and Concord. So, he had a general, and that general basically assembled 2,000 troops, came out of Boston and went to Lexington, right? Where they thought that there might be gunpowder, guns, ammunition, and basically other things that could help a rebellion. So they went to Lexington first. But the spies of, the Patriots actually saw this and warned the others, like Paul Revere, who was like, the British are coming! The British are coming! So they went to Lexington. What happened at Lexington? Well, they kind of won 10-0. The troops at Lexington were absolutely demolished. But at Concord, they were ready. So after they pillaged Lexington, they went straight for Concord. When they reached Concord, they expected to shoot, and the Minutemen there, which are basically the militia soldiers, would be running around scared. But you know what happened? They rushed at them. And now it was the redcoats who were now running scared for their lives. They immediately retreated and were going back to Boston. But as they were going back to Boston, they had the worst trip ever. Because no matter which road they take, there was always Minutemen waiting in the bushes, shooting at them. They couldn't even hit them because they were hiding. And some people say that's the beginning of guerrilla warfare. But, I'm not telling you what to believe. So, let's go over the important facts. British come in while America has been independent for the past decades. They make America fight a war that they had no reason to fight for. They then punish them for saying that was a stupid decision to make them fight a war they shouldn't have fought. So they make some laws and stuff that make them basically pay more, and basically it's a punishment. Then 5 innocent people are killed. Boston gets rebellious. They throw tea into the harbor. King George gets angry because he loves tea, and he threw basically the 5 British soldiers from the Boston Massacre into an English court, which basically meant that it's an obvious get out of jail free card. Lexington and Concord, they basically tried to diminish the rebellion in the Americas, but it gave them a new hope. So, and they were running scared. So that was it. in the next episode, we are going to be talking about the Declaration of Independence. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.